of my voice to try to get it a little lower in here, try this emotional lead, emphasize this. I mean, and Bevins is like the scariest son of a bitch I've ever met in my life now. The nicest guy in the world, but now he's like, no, do this, do this, do this. Why are you ruining my show, Tatum? Why are you ruining my show? So 4 hours of this goes by, and convinced that I have completely blown it and can now go back to my normal daily life.
Now will you quit calling me?
We leave me alone now. I step out of the booth and sign a bunch of what I thought were NDAs. I didn't read them very closely my first time. Don't do that. Right. Don't do that. This is really like point for point how not to become a voice actor. So I'm just signing these papers going, okay, awesome, yes, thank you, leave me alone now. And then I glibly said something like, how do people get anything done if it takes you 4 hours to audition every single person that comes in here? And he was like, oh, it doesn't, it took 5 minutes. We actually just recorded the first 6 episodes, and you just signed a contract. You're now an actor, screw you, Tatum. So,
that's when you learn some new swear words.
Wow.
Yeah, follow that one, Kyle.
I can't. I don't have an awesome punchline like that. But my path is also don't do as I do. I came from radio. I was a painfully shy kid. I didn't have a speech impediment, but I was really, really shy. And I said, I never want to get on the stage because you have to memorize lines, and I'm so nervous, and I'm going to screw up. So outside of a few elementary school plays, I knew that was not my path. However, growing up and watching things like Star Blazers, Battle of the Planets, huge Star Wars fan, Looney Tunes, cartoons, you know. I wanted to voice for cartoons, specifically. That's what I wanted to do, because my dad kind of told me about the process. It's like, oh yeah, so this guy goes into a booth and he records, and this one guy did all the Looney Tunes voices. Isn't that amazing? Like, that's the coolest job in the world. And I grew up thinking, like, all right, it doesn't matter what you look like. And that's very freeing. Your script's in front of you. You don't have to memorize anything. Now, being
better and better.
Yeah, it's like this. It sounds easy. But I quickly, the veil of magic was pierced when I was, getting into radio, and then that magic was lost. Like, oh, this magical world of radio. I'm going to be a disc jockey and every other stuff. And it's like, oh, this is a little booth, and you just talk and like. But I still loved it. I loved it. I got a degree in broadcasting from the University of North Texas, just north of here in Denver. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And I have no idea if Denton's bigger or smaller at this point. It's just
bigger.
It's bigger. Is there still nothing to do there?
Yeah.
Everyone leaves on the weekend and comes back home. I came back home. My parents still live in Mesquite. So like, can I do my laundry on the weekend for free? Like, yes, son, come back home. So yeah, I ended up getting an internship, which is, that's the only thing my college degree did for me, by the way. I mean, I understand a college degree works for certain things, but don't feel compelled to get an acting degree. A lot of us don't have an acting degree, per se. A lot of us have experience. That's the key thing.
Absolutely.
And, but my segue into voiceover was working in radio and then hearing about auditions at Funimation, which I was a huge fan of Dragon Ball Z already. And I was so excited to know that was being done in the same town where I was. What? And this was August of 2000. So 14 years ago, I got to go in and read for Teen Gohan and other bit parts, and I got hired 2 weeks later. You couldn't kill me off the ceiling. Chris Sabat called me himself and said, oh, hey, it's Chris Sabat, Funimation. He's all twitchy and like real ADD, and like, we like your audition, we'd like you to come in. And they go, all right! Everyone I called wasn't home. So I'm just like pacing around the apartment going, yes, achievement unlocked, dream come true, literally. Yeah, this is so cool. I get to be on a show I'm a fan of, and I get to break into animation voiceover. This is like, whoa! So yeah, and I did bit parts as most people do when they first start out. They just want to see how you do because it is a specific technical skill to match the lip sync and act and take, big juggling act, really. So I guess I passed the test, and then they said, we really loved your audition, like 2 or 3 months later, we really loved your first audition for Teen Gohan, so congratulations. Like, wow! Yes! And everything has happened since then, so... And I have taken improv classes since and acting classes, and I've learned so much more since then. So I was one of the really, really lucky ones, and luck is a huge part of it. But the things that you don't have control of in your life, you still got to bring your A game because you're going to be up against all these people that have differing levels of experience and training and all that. And it's like if you go in there and blow it, you may not have another shot again. So train and become the best you can, do the whole become a Jedi, Yoda's on your side, mentoring. Yes, of course that you will. And maybe it'll happen, maybe not. There's a lot of people that do it and it doesn't happen, but at least I give them great respect for at least trying.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
If this is something you want to do, by all means, take the baby steps. Like, but I don't have money to take the class. And it's like, well, you got money to come to A-Kon. You just saved your money. So put a little money from each paycheck, and then suddenly you have a pool of money to take an acting class.
Yeah.
Or to buy a nice USB mic to record stuff from home. You never know. It's just piecemeal, just baby steps.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. And so many people, I've heard so many times. Well, I'm not. I believe it was Kyle who mentioned the actor who did all of the Bugs Bunny and Donald Duck and Sylvester and Tweety and everybody else, and whose name was Mel Blanc. Well, I'll never be Mel Blanc. Well, no, of course you won't. Can you imagine the boring world if everybody was Mel Blanc? Duh! So, so many people sabotage themselves by saying, oh, well, I don't, my voice isn't really all that great, or I don't, my voice isn't as deep as so-and-so's. Get out of your own way. Every time you think of something that you can't do, beat it down with something that you can do. And it's sort of, you have to try and reprogram yourself. Because say for example, you get an audition. You schedule an audition. You'll go in there, you'll get your script, probably from the receptionist. She'll hand you your script and give you kind of the lowdown. Okay, we're this and that, and this is going to happen, and we take a seat and whatever. And I mean, your heart is pounding. You don't even remember what your name is. It's the most nerve-wracking situation that I can think of. Because in this business, you are the commodity. For lack of a better expression, you have to go out there and sell yourself. You're not a hooker, of course, but you're putting it out there. It's you. And if you're turned down for something, there's no such thing as a sex discrimination suit or any sort of discrimination. If you're not chosen, because I could no more go in an audition for a 5-year-old schoolgirl, like an on-camera thing. I couldn't do it, and because I'm not 5 and short and cute and whatever, I can't say, well, he didn't hire me because I'm not. Get that out of your head. In an audition, you're, like I said, it's nerve-wracking. It's nerve-wracking, and you get your script. You have some time to make a few choices. Okay, I'll play it like this, and I'll do this, and I'll inflect here, and I'll do that. And you'll get into the session. You got the casting director. You may have the director there, or you may have a couple of other people, and they're chattering back and forth. And whenever you're ready, and you're standing there, okay, this is it. And you'll be auditioning your heart out, and you'll get 2 lines out, and you'll hear, "Thank you. Leave your contact information with the receptionist. We'll be in touch. Thank you." Okay. I suck. I'll never get anywhere in this business. I might as well, go become a pastry chef or whatever. And what's really freaky is when that happens to you and 2 days later they call you and tell you got the gig. They know what they're looking for or what they're listening for. But they are under such pressure to get this thing cast The good news is, because that happened to you, don't think it's because they hate you. They don't even know you. What they want is to listen to every single person that has come in for that audition. They want you there because they don't want to take the chance on missing that one special something that you may not even realize that you have. And it'll be a complete surprise to you. Wait, I never thought I could do that. That's what they wanted? I thought they wanted, macho or, ingenue, real, young feminine type. And that's what they wanted? Okay. And it's all of these weird things are going to happen to you, and things are going to happen that you don't expect. And it is nerve-wracking. You do have to be crazy to get into this business.
But a good crazy.
But a good crazy.
The kind of crazy that, because that's, a lot of people, if I may kind of continue,
yes.
I think, I've met a lot of people in the business, or just like going to cons and stuff, and a lot of people are really attracted to the idea of acting because of the lifestyle they think comes with it. They're not really right. Which you come into an act like, I love the fame and the money. We're like, what? Are you talking
what?
Oh, you little dreamer!
Oh, you little dreamer! You.
Oh, that's sweet. It's.
Why are you here?
Understand. There are actors out there that are very famous and who have lots and lots of money, but they're like 2% of the hundreds of thousands of people that do it. That just like everybody else with their jobs. We live and we pay bills and we keep our head above water as best we can. And it's a weird life because you're largely working for yourself, which is different. It's not a 9-to-5 job. It's not you don't go in, you don't have a health plan. You can. There's ways around it depending on where you live. But like for me, myself, working here in Dallas, I stay in Dallas because that's where my agent is, and I do a lot of commercial work here. I work with Funimation. Here, I do well because I was with Funimation for years and got established with them by some fluke of just some dude calling me in and not letting me go without being an actor. But if I were to move out to LA, the things I do here and the things that I've made a bit of a name for myself doing wouldn't mean anything. I would still have to start fresh because I'd be in a new environment. I would be working with new directors, new producers, and what's really interesting about this job is I don't care how long you've done it, there is never a point in your career, at least not in anyone I've spoken to while I've been doing this, there's never a point where you just walk in and you're like, I got this. Every time you go into work, you're auditioning. Because there's the audition process that may or may not get you the job, and then once you've got that job, every session you do, even if it's a director you've worked with for 10 years and who knows you like you were the best man at his wedding, it is an audition. Every time you open your mouth in this business, it's an audition. How you comport yourself professionally, whether you're nice or likable, whether you're a diva, all those things. And so we're constantly having to sort of make our way through this jungle of possibilities, and that is the lifestyle. That is the reality of it. The reality of it is that it's like every other job, except there's no security at all. You save up your money because you don't know when you're next. Sometimes you go through dry spells where you're like, well, I'm not getting any bites. I'm not winning any auditions. So thank God I saved up my money from that particular show. Yeah. And and you live frugally for a few months or a couple of years or however long until you realize, maybe it's time to become a pastry chef or whatever. And you have
noble profession. Noble profession.
Very noble. Very noble. Noble profession. Probably less stressful in some ways. Yeah. So so acting. So any advice I'd give to people that want to get into acting because they think the lifestyle is like, well, a lot of people think it's a very easy job. It is not. Even if it is easy for you personally to just vocalize and get in character and impress people. Some people it does come naturally. The business aspect of it is difficult to navigate. You're always, as I said earlier, always auditioning. You always have to network. You always have to. You never know who you're meeting and how their life may play into years later. So you have to always be cognizant of the people of the friends you make, the things you say, the enemies you make accidentally. And you always have to be mindful of that, as you do in life generally. But when it comes to acting, it's one of those jobs you do have to be crazy because it's such a gypsy lifestyle. You have to love. You have to love the craft, the idea of being rejected every time you go in. It's more likely that they're going to tell you no, or that you won't get a call back. Then you'll get that thing. I think what's stuff like every 100 auditions you may get one gig out of those 100, and that's just the reality of it. Yeah. So audition, and just learn to love the lifestyle, which is, I think someone described it once as 10 no's followed by a maybe.
Think of it as the job. Auditioning is your job.
Right.
Yes.
Precisely.
Yes. Exactly.
So you have to love this crazy idea of being an actor. So please don't get into it because you think it's going to be, famous. You're going to be famous. You're going to be rich. Chances are you won't be any of those things. And who cares about those things? Being rich, I tell myself this because I'm certainly not rich. But being rich is no different than being, poor or having nothing. It just means, you got the same problems as everybody else. You just got a couple more zeros in your bank account. It means nothing.
Can't take it with you.
You still have the same debt bracket as anyone else, right?
You gotta pay that bill.
Right.
Just different numbers.
So get into it because you like the craft, because you like the idea of just leading a very interesting life that is, when you're in your 80s, will be a hell of a story to tell your grandkids or your grandnephews or whoever happens to be listening to you when you're that crazy.
You're a crazy cat lady down the street.
Right. I'm going to be that old guy in a nursing home that's going to be like, yes, my lord, why aren't you screaming? But what a life to look back on, including like all the hardships and everything. It's like just at some point you look back and you're like, man, and I have some terrible days. We all have terrible days where you think, man, maybe this is it. Maybe I'm out. I'm just done. Maybe however long you've done this, how many credits you have to your name. There are days you walk out of a session thinking, I am just not good at this. What the hell am I doing? I am just, this is, wow, who hired me? How do I get work? That's just the reality of it. But look back on it, I'm like, really the best part about it for me, personally, the lifestyle, is that it's such an unconventional way to live. My brother is quite a bit older than me, and is a lovely gentleman. I'm very fond of my brother. I look up to him in many ways, but our life paths could not be more distinct. I was always been the crazy artsy-fartsy one that followed this and kind of went wherever we went. Took him and suddenly found himself, oh sure, I'll do this, and now I'm an actor, and everyone's like, you're an actor? Oh, he's acting now, cool. But my brother, set out and went to college, got his master's, and has 2 children, and is a wonderful father and a husband and all that, and the two of us get together, and I described my week to him, and he looks at me like I played around in golf. Fell asleep in front of television watching American Idol, and I'm like, awesome. I just got back from Ireland where they asked me to come to A-Kon, and when I said yes, they said, oh crap, we better have A-Kon now. So I'm like, he's like, I love your life, and I'm like, it's fun, but I love your life too. It's really amazing. I would love to get to play you one day. It's a really fun, weird, stressful, beautiful, crazy life. And that's what you have to be addicted to, is the life. Yeah. Not the fame, not the money you think you're going to get.
If it happens,
if it happens, awesome. If it happens, oh my God. First thing you should do as an actor is open up your own damn theater and give other people a chance. And hire all your friends. Here's my card. But yeah, it's the lifestyle. And another point I'd like to make about acting, just speaking of like the sort of psychological, spiritual side of it, is I got into acting very young, as I said, literally it helped me find my voice. But as I found myself re-entering the craft, the business, whatever, I realized that the appeal of acting from the beginning was that it takes you out of yourself. You get to kind of explore other minds, not your own, and kind of get into someone else's skin for a little while and see the world through their eyes. But really, it's not. It is, but you find that these characters are inside of you. So, in trying to get away from yourself, you end up just going deeper in, and that's a beautiful experience at the end of the day. And that, to me, is always the appeal of acting. And if you're not in it for that reason, you have to really ask yourself, is that your calling? Is that your passion? Is it this? As Joseph Campbell would say. But yeah, so I'm rambling now.
No.
That's half the panel right there.
That's part of what this panel's about. It's just informal. Like we're sitting around chatting at home.
Yeah.
That's how I like to. The vibe I kind of like to give out and get back.
Except with a lot more people.
Everybody's sharing stories and asking questions and stuff. Do we have
take some
a
questions.
question back